Throughout the story, the narrator's understanding of Robert grows in addition to his character and understanding of the world. In the beginning, the narrator looks down on Robert and struggles to see him as anything but a slow-moving and creepy blind man. As the narrator sees the connection between Robert and his wife, he begins to feel threatened with the lack of connection between him and his wife. Once the wife falls asleep, the narrator learns more about Robert and himself through blindly drawing out a cathedral. He begins to have compassion toward Robert and sees things from his perspective. He comprehends not only the similarities they have together, but the character and worldly understanding the blind man possesses that the narrator lacks. Although the narrator feels superior and more well-lived than Robert in the beginning, because he isn't blind, as they learn about cathedrals and the narrator closes his eyes and tries to learn like Robert, he realizes that although he can look at things, he doesn't fully see and appreciate them as Robert does. Prior to meeting Robert, the narrator assumes that he moved slowly and never laughed. Automatically, the narrator dehumanizes Robert as someone he cannot relate to. As the narrator begins to see the relationship between the blind man and his wife and their past, he begins to feel threatened and inferior by their connection. After his wife falls asleep, the narrator is forced to spend time with the blind man. They talked, laughed, and found similarities among each other. Describing the cathedral, the narrator expresses that he closed his hand over my hand as he drew out a cathedral. The narrator closes his eyes, just like he said, as the blind man instructed. He communicates, my eyes were still closed. I was in my house, I knew that, but I didn't feel like I was inside anything. By placing himself in the blind man's perspective, the narrator realizes all that the blind man sees and appreciates that he overlooks.